Every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Breaking news just reached us saying Nigerian troops have stormed the suspected Boko Haram hideouts in Borno State, killing over 15 members. The military said in a statement that the raid followed a tip-off that the insurgents were marching to attack Konduga. An officer and 2 soldiers were seriously wounded during the operation that saw troops seize a fabricated artillery gun, 2 anti-aircraft guns, an armored vehicle, and assorted types of ammunition. There is, however, no independent confirmation of the military's claim. The secretary to the Adamawa state, Lima Tuka, says the insurgents have taken over Gulag town, headquarters of the Madagali local government area of the state. This is contained in the statement issued by Tuka and made available to journalists in Yola on Saturday. The statement says the insurgents had killed and displaced many people in town during their attacks. According to the statement, the state government deeply sympathized with the people of Gulag and other surrounding villages and towns whose areas had been overrun by insurgents. It added that the state government would do as much as possible to assist the displaced persons. Meanwhile, the Emergency Management Agency has been directed to hasten assistance to the displaced persons. The police training school in Gwaza, Borno State is still under the occupation of the Boko Haram sect, weeks after it was attacked and overrun by insurgents. CoreTV News learned that about 27 riot policemen were yet to be found out of the 100 personnel that were receiving training at the school when insurgents struck on the 20th of August 2014. However, there is anxiety in the force over the safety of the missing policemen, some of whom are suspected to have been injured or killed by the rampaging sect members. There are fears in the police quarters that some of the affected personnel might not make it back to their squadron in view of the spread of the activities of the insurgents in Gwaza. The police high command, however, says an operation to liberate the facility is underway, adding that a census of the policemen will be taken after the operations. The immediate past chief of the Army Staff, Azubike Ihejirika, who was recently accused by Australian negotiator Stephen Davis of being one of the sponsors of the Boko Haram, has warned Nigerians not to be deceived by what he described as the frivolous and baseless accusations. Ihejirika spoke during the meeting of the Alumni Association of Members of Regular Course 18 of the Nigerian Defense Academy at the National Defense College, Abuja. The former army chief says the claims by the Australian that the insurgents mentioned him and the former governor of Borno State, Ali Mudu Sharif, among the chief sponsors of the Boko Haram terrorists was unfounded. According to Ihejirika, baseless, frivolous, and unfounded allegations like this have the capacity of diverting the nation's attentions away from the main problem. He noted that if the allegations against his person were to have been taken in place in the developed countries like the United States and the United Kingdom, the issue would have been given not more than an hour's attention for it to be dismissed. He warned Nigerian allies that the terrorists are currently exploiting the country's ethno-religious, socio-political, and multicultural faultiness to advance their cause, which they have not been able to achieve through the violence. He, however, explained that he was not angered by the attention given to the allegations because of his belief that the country is yet to come to terms with the motives of the terrorists and their desire to bring the country down. Claims of the former governor of Borno State, Ali Mudu Sharif, that he has no link with the deadly Boko Haram sect has come under heavy fire as the senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, says he is still not truthful. Sheriff's denial of links with the Boko Haram is coming on the heels of damning allegations by an Australian negotiator, Stephen Davis, hired by the federal government to negotiate the freedom of the abducted girls kidnapped from a school in Chibok, Borno State in April. Davis revealed that Ali Modu Sheriff and former Chief of Army Staff Azubike Ehejirika were principal sponsors of the Boko Haram. Although Sheriff was addressed several press conferences today, to deny the allegations and has threatened a legal action on the issue, Falana believes he still has more to unveil his involvement with the terror group.
The collective intelligence and memory of Nigerians by denying any links with the dangerous, dreaded Boko Haram sect. And I'm expecting him to sue me. Because he said he wanted to sue an Australian. You don't need to go to Australia. What you are looking for in Sokoto is in the pocket of your Sokoto. I'm ready to join issues with him. Because not only did he sponsor that organization by providing funds for them, in 2003, he had a deal with the Boko Haram sect to get him to win the election. And that if he won his re-election, he will compensate the organization. When he won that election, he appointed Alhaji Bugu Foy as the Commissioner for Religious Affairs to implement Sharia in that state. When the man attended the first Executive Council meeting, he discovered that they were all talking about contracts and how to steal money. So he went back to the camp, the Boko Haram camp, and said, where you send me to is Gida Barawi, the house of thieves. I can no longer be part of them. So he was asked to resign, and that was how Foy resigned from the government of Mutu Sharif. So to say that you don't know them is the greatest lie.
The recent attack of the Boko Haram insurgents at Bama, Borno State has been generating reactions from Nigerians. Speaking on a flagship program called Digest, public affairs analyst Adeyemi Arumalaran says government needs to do more proactive and sincere in tackling the issue of insurgents in the country.
The only thing we want our government to do is the government needs to get sincere. Otherwise, nothing positive may be achieved. Yes, those guys, they have the money with which they are buying their weapons. If it were to be in the South, I would say, oh, they are giving out oil, crude oil to get weapons. But what do they have to give? No, so we can begin to insinuate that, look, their sponsors must be international, no more local. For them to have the sophisticated weapons that are superior to our home military authorities that is chasing away the military, then it tells us a lot that these guys, they are well equipped, they are well funded. And if we're talking of the source of funding, then we should look far, far beyond the Nigeria environment.
For her part, President Women Who Rise Initiative Joe K. Odumaki says Bring Back Our Girls campaign is still at the front burner. She emphasized that they are leaving no stones unturned until the girls are brought back alive.
There is the need for us to keep that issue on the front burner so that our girls are never forgotten. And I think that apart from having the girls back, rescuing them, we will also have arrangements when these girls are back. How would they be reabsorbed? Scholarship. So it's not that all hope is lost. Although one thinks of the fact that the rescue, they must painstakingly rescue the girls because it's not going to do us any good. God forbid, I even hate to think of it. Imagine the fact that nobody will also want to fathom the fact that we want the girls, we want Sambisa to be bombed, and if the girls are alive or dead, we should bring them. No, we want them rescued, we want them alive.
Why is it the APC and PDP are fighting over two suspended INEC officials in Osun State? Find out more after this break. Stay with us.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Welcome back. The recent suspension of 2 INEC officials who participated in the conduct of the just concluded governorship election in Osun State has pitched members of the ruling All Progressive Congress against the opposition party PDP. The 2 parties are bickering over who stands to benefit at the ongoing election tribunal from the development. Rashid took up the issue with the spokesperson of the 2 parties and filed in this report.
The August 9th governorship election in Osun State has come and gone. A winner has emerged. However, the controversies trailing the outcome of the election lingers on. It is no longer news that the PDP is currently at the Election Petition Tribunal challenging the outcome of the governorship poll. With inspection of election materials and investigations ongoing, the main gladiator in the battle, APC and the PDP, are now pointing accuser finger at each other, claiming that the 2 INEC officials who were suspended recently are those hired to work for them. APC says the suspended officials worked for PDP during the election, a statement the PDP described as laughable.
He was caught by vigilant youths and was dragged to state CID. And there and then was released to a kingpin, to a chieftain of the PDP. So how could he have worked or been working or attempting to work for APC?
There's no amount of antics that can distort the unwholesome experience that Osun people were confronted with, talking about the August 9 gubernatorial election. For the APC now to come back and accuse PDP that did not benefit from their irregularities, it's laughable.
The blame game continues as the APC says INEC's decision to suspend its officials and its reasons for doing so is not the business of the PDP. But the PDP insists there is more to the suspension and the reasons given for it.
The INEC came out to say that their employees, those they have in their employment, say this, did this, and then this is why we are taking action. And you still went ahead to be querying that action. That why should they be telling you that they misbehaved? That's why you send them on. So they were trying to defend the boys.
It was a national office of that of the election management body that sanctioned those officers. Therefore, for the Osun State office of INEC to come round and begin to concoct cock and bull story is laughable.
As the bickering continues, both parties were of the opinion that these jobs should be saved for the courtroom when the tribunal commences sitting.
We have no apology that we won. We won creditably well, we won convincingly, and we won because the world saw what we have done and they gave approval of what we have done.
We don't have any problem because we have enough unassailable evidence and records to show that there was a great deal of malfeasance as far as the August gubernatorial election was concerned.
As the political battle rages on, more interesting fireworks are expected from these gladiators, especially when the Osun Election Petition Tribunal begins its sitting. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshobo.
And on infrastructure, the Nigerian authorities want professionals in the construction industry to maintain international best practices in order to stem the tide of building collapse in the country. This was the thrust of a message delivered at the National Stakeholders Forum on the industry in Abuja. The forum was at the instance of the Standard Organization of Nigeria. The report.
Building collapse has been a recurring phenomenon in the country, and in a bid to check the trend, the government is seeking compliance with standards, especially of block and allied products.
The right application of specifications and the standards will ensure optimal use of resources, right quality and durability of your sanitary blocks, thus aligning with the federal government's aspiration for safe and affordable housing for the nation. I wish to therefore employ all professionals in the building and construction sector, including artisans and sanitary block molders, to ensure the use of only certified materials.
What we're doing today is a life-saving activity to ensure that we all learn to do the right things and to ensure that we continue to do them after today.
Nigerian government officials also want consumers to insist on getting value for their money.
I wish to also call on all Nigerians to endeavor to demand for quality as a right. You may be aware that also that the Consumer Protection Council also reports to my ministry. The job of CPC is to protect the ultimate consumer. So whilst we are interested, you also report to the ministry in terms of producing the concrete, the blocks. It's also important that you meet the required standards, because it's important that the consumers get good value for money.
This end, the authorities are insisting that stipulated grades of cement and blocks in particular must be used by builders and contractors for buildings to stand the test of time.
And turning attention to health matters, the World Health Organization has announced that deaths from the Ebola virus disease has climbed above 2,000, while assuring that the treatment vaccines will be available by November. The deadly virus has claimed 2,097 lives out of 3,944 people infected in Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone since emerging last December. The UN's health organs reveal after a two-day crisis meeting in Geneva, Nigeria has recorded another 8 deaths out of 22 cases recorded in the country. At least 30 more people have died in a separate outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. According to the World Health Organization, results from safety trials for 2 prototype vaccines should be known in November. If proven safe, a vaccine could be available in November 2014 for priority in healthcare workers. In the UN, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said the goals of stopping the worst ever outbreak of the disease within 6 to 9 months. The next few weeks will be crucial, Ban says in New York, adding that this was an international rescue call. The meeting in Geneva gathered more than 150 experts in drug research, epidemiology, ethics, regulations, and financing.
Ebola virus disease, and that all efforts must be invested into helping affected countries use them safely. 2 promising vaccine candidates were identified. One is called chimpanzee adenovirus Ebola, and the other one VSV Ebola. Safety studies are currently underway in the United States of America and soon to start in Europe and Africa. Yes, it's absolutely unprecedented. There is no doubt. It's unprecedented in the willingness that everybody has to move as quickly as possible. And this includes the regulators. As we know, the regulators have a very important role in ensuring that what is used in the human population is same, is effective. So they are really helping us in order to facilitate processes that, while trying to preserve as much as possible safety, this is very important, safety should be preserved, that at the same time development goes very quickly.
On sports, Sierra Leone's footballers are disappointed by a sense of betrayal by fellow Africans over the Ebola virus that has led to a near pariah status and forced them to play all their games in the ongoing African Cup of Nations qualifiers away from home. All players based outside Sierra Leone were allowed into Ivory Coast for the African Cup of Nations qualifying game in Abidjan on Saturday, and it was only under a threat of being expelled from the competition that the host authorities permitted the game to go ahead. The Ivorians' attitude to the flight of their fellow Africans has deeply upset the Sierra Leonean stars. Nearly 2,100 people have now been killed in the devastating Ebola outbreak in West Africa, with about a quarter of the deaths in Sierra Leone. Many African governments have sought to isolate Sierra Leone, Guinea and Liberia, the worst hit countries, including their sportsmen and women.
This isn't something new to us. We've seen it developing over the last few months, and so it's something that we've agreed that we need to be the positive sort of focus of the nation. And football, as you know, in all countries across Africa, it's such an emotive, sport, and if the national team wins, it can buoy the confidence of the nation. And so, for us, we're looking to do our little bit in terms of making sure we put on positive performances and hopefully gain the right results to help take the national team of Sierra Leone forward into the African Cup of Nations.
We have to feel depressed, We are, like I say again, we're playing in Europe where things go a lot smoother, and we come here, we want to do best, we want to do well, for our nation, but we've just been going through a lot of struggles recently, and for, again, like I said, for us not to have the help of the African nations, it's really difficult. We approached Ghana to host, to help us host the games in Ghana. We was turned down. So seeing all these things, it's really difficult.
The way we are treated is like we don't belong in the African planet, in the African continent. Sorry, it's like we don't even people don't even want to see us, because the way people treat us, when we go to airports, as soon as you say I'm from Sierra Leone, it's like I'm from an alien planet. People start pushing themselves away, giving you this eye that I think it's embarrassing to us Africans, to be treating another African that type of way.
The Russian rebels and the Ukraine military accuse each other of breaking the ceasefire. That's after the break. Stay with us.
Der Torschütze zum zwischenzeitlichen 1:1. Semenike schickt Musa, da ist Ahmed Musa! Und da ist der Ausgleich!
It's a beautiful Saturday evening in the city of Lagos.
Off the turn, Phelps had it, but then Matsui kept going.
Idols. 5 to shoot. Leonard does.
And of course, making a difference for all of us here from all our production crew. Thanks for all your pleasure.
Welcome back. And outside Nigeria, pro-Russian rebels and the Ukrainian military accuse each other of breaking Athena's Kremlin-backed truce, only hours after it came into force across war-battered East. Although the situation overall appeared to be calm, the rival claims underscore the fragility of the deal that aims to end 5 months of bloodshed. It contains no framework for a political solution to an insurgency still threatening to tear apart Ukraine. Vladimir Makovich, a leading member of the parliament established by the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic, claims the terms of ceasefire are not being observed. He says Ukrainian units had fired several missiles towards rebel position on the outskirts of main insurgents bastions of the next 3 hours after the truce came into effect. In the same vein, Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council spokesman Andriy Lisnenko told reporters that the military had recorded a series of provocations by the rebels. The 12-point pact signed in the Belarusian capital Minsk is the first backed by both the Kremlin and Kiev since band of Russian-speaking militias seized a string of government buildings across the Ukraine's industrial heartland in early April. And that's it on the news on the hour. Your headlines comes up shortly. And your everyday program, Core Digest, comes up in a moment. I am Sabina Izoku, and thank you very much indeed for watching.